I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Voss.
Present.
Pipia.
Present.
Graham. Present. Hughes.
Present.
Fry. Schroller.
Here.
Throm.
Present.
Barnes.
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. The first item is the approval of minutes. I just had a couple of slight changes on page 5 of the agenda, which is page 4 of the minutes. There was just a small typo in number 4. There was a double period, so just to correct that. And then on the city clerk, I thought we should go ahead on the third line when it says, as requested by C.C. Price, I thought we should put a comma, estimated to cost $2,366 to be consistent with the prior one. Did anybody have any other changes? So entertain a motion to approve as amended.
Move to approve the approval of regular meeting of February 26, 2018 as amended.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. All right, next is public comment. You- Sure.
Turn it on.
on, but is there a way?
It's not on.
Just so you can turn it.
Someone speak again.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah, better.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, the next item is public comments. If you are not on the agenda and you would like to share, please come to the podium, give your name, your ward, your address, and you're welcome to share for 5 minutes. All right, I will move on to the business and discussion items. Wayne Cruiser, you're up first.
Good evening, I'm Wayne Cruzy. Sally Oliver is with me as well. We're representing the Marshall County Arts Cooperative. We're here to talk to you about the Marshall County Canteen Big Band Swing and Dance on Friday, April 13th at the Landau Hangar at Marysville Municipal Airport. It will feature the Marshall County Community Big Band playing with Presidio Brass, a professional quintet from San Diego, and together they will come and play songs from the Great American Songbook so that we can all foxtrot and waltz and swing and cha-cha all night long.
Will there be lessons before those?
There are lessons. Sally is coordinating our lessons.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Carol Landell Owen is teaching lessons on Sunday the 18th and Sunday the 25th at the Armory from 4 to 5, $10 a couple. And then the night of the canteen from 7 to 7:30, Paula Schrader, Paula who manages Habitat, her mother was a professional ballroom dancer, and she'll be there that evening to offer a refresher course. So if you can't come on the 18th or 25th and just want to have a refresher course that night, she'll be there to help you out. So live music all night long. Veterans, active military, and their spouses get into this event free. Otherwise, it's $5. We only have 200 tickets for sale because since we're in the hangar, even though it's big, it's not big when you have a dance floor. So 200 people will be there. And then we'll have vendors there serving different foods. We're here tonight to say we'd like to serve beer and wine. And then so it's a party all night long. I've been in touch with Jimmy Keller. Todd Fry had said, why don't you make sure you touch base with some people to make sure there won't be any complications at the hangar. So I gave Jimmy a call to say, hey, here's what's going on. Do you think there'll be a problem? Sonia Stahl is talking to all the people who have a hangar so they understand what's going on. And again, we're talking 200 people, so maybe 100 cars will be out there. So that's an overview of the event if you have questions.
I think it sounds like great fun. That was kind
Great
of fun
fun.
when I read it. I didn't know anything about it until I read it in the packet.
Publicity comes out this week.
Okay, I'll read more to
Yeah,
come.
you will read more, absolutely.
I know your request was to serve alcohol, and I did ask Austin if we had any concerns with the FAA having alcohol on airport property, and he said as long as it's kept inside the hangar, that we won't have a problem, so everything is gonna be inside the hangar.
Inside the hangar, absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
All right, do you guys have any questions for Wayne?
They won't be out in the runway or tarmac or anything like that, will they?
No, no,
Well, that's what
not
they would-
allowed out there.
Yeah, so
Well,
we'll
I knew
have,
that, that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
so you.
Right, we're in the hangar.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to
Hang
approve
yourself, Ken.
the consumption request.
I move to approve the consumption request for the Marshall County Arts and Cooperative event on April 13th, 2018, from 6:30 to 10:30 at the Marysville Municipal Airport,
In the hangar.
in the hangar.
In the hangar.
In the hangar.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Thank you, Wayne. I
Thank
think
you
it
very
sounds
much.
like great
Yes, hope to
fun.
see you all there. I hope you'll dance with me.
Oh, are you kidding me? She'll dance with you all night long. She's a dancing machine. All right, the next item is Lynn Bargman. Do you want to share, Lynn? I see you're here.
Yep, I read it. Hi, I'm Lynn Bargman. Our family runs Pumpkins and More, and we was requesting to use Hedstrom Hall again like we have in the past. This year it'd be the 21st, I believe the 21st, 22nd of September to the end, to the 31st of October.
How many years have you been doing this?
This will be our 9th year.
9th year, all right. Well, thank you for doing that.
We
Do you
enjoy
guys,
it.
we do have a new council, so we usually charge them $25 for the electricity, is that correct?
Yeah, that more
And
covers.
that's the only thing we charge him, but he brings people to the community, and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
This year, we're gonna be adding kettle corn every weekend.
Oh,
Our family
that should
started-
draw people in.
If you've heard of Ma and Paul's Kettle, that's us.
Cool.
And I did buy some at Christmas.
Move to approve the request for Lynn Barton to use Hedstrom Hall.
Is there
I
a second?
second it.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Thank you, Lynn, for doing that.
Thank you.
All right, the next item is tracks for land bids for 7th and Walnut. We received 3 bids. They're listed on pages 11 through 21. The first one was Josh Bloomer. The second one was Nick Stoll. And the third one was Chris Butler. I noticed you guys are all here. Is there anything additionally you want to share with the council? What?
Yes.
Yes, you want to go ahead?
My name's Nick Stahl, and I was one of the bidders, and we're want to get the property to put up some multi-family residential, and I've included a lot plan and the floor plan for that in the packet. We basically positioned the structure according to the offsets for the R3 zoning. That's what it's currently zoned. Those are 25-foot offsets for a corner lot. And so those are all the way to the north and west for now. And then, so I guess a little bit of background on, it'll be two bedrooms, one bedroom, and we'd like to get started as soon as we can. Obviously, we can go in as soon as we can close if we do get the property. It's a great opportunity for our family, I think, to put a serious investment into the community. I've personally been doing that for a a while. I've worked for my dad. He's done some newer housing in the area within the last 5 years or so. So that's the majority of what you see in the colored packet that I provided. Those are 5 different houses, all in this area. The first was completed in about 2011, so we've done about 1 a year since then. And the last one was my own, where Sarah and I both live now on Jackson Street. I think it's a great opportunity to get some economic, some pretty good economic activity going with a local contractor that I've already talked to. Would help do quite a bit of it. I've spent the majority of all the materials from all the other houses have come from our local lumber yards, and I bank locally and will locally insure it. So there's lots of things that start to add up when it comes to trying to build something like that. And then obviously I think there's an even longer aspect of it when you talk about the long-term improvement in your tax base and the property taxes that will go back into the city. And then hopefully the residents that will be there. I think that location gives them the chance to be a lot more likely to interact with our downtown businesses, which we have all seen that become a little bit stressed here in the last 12 months. So one other thing that I've thought a lot about too is every single one of these houses are full right now, and every single one of them moved here from they moved here from out of town. They moved here, let's see, Clay Center, Topeka, Baldwin, and then I don't remember the last one. Those aren't my tenants, but I do know kind of where they are. A couple of them are our neighbors. So I think there's a demand for that type of quality, I guess, newer housing, and I'd be honored to offer that to our community.
Are all the homes rentals?
All of those, the brown ones, yes, but I live in
Yes.
ours, so. And Sarah and I lived in one of those before we built our own house. So.
Well, I really appreciate you and your family building, and particularly where you have been building and improving those areas.
Thanks. Thank you.
They look nice.
And obviously we like to, the location gives us, it's a great location to have the people that will live there take advantage of the park and the pool and trail.
Are the entrances off the patio, or those are your doors? Your
Yeah.
exterior
So
doors?
the main entrances would be on the east side towards the trail.
Is there a fence? Is this a fence line that angles?
Now, any of the lines you see there would either be the property line or a 25-foot offset.
Okay.
I wouldn't plan for any
I was just curious.
fencing. I know one of the concerns, might be, the proximity of the line to the park, and the way I at least positioned it that's drawn up is as far away from the trail as possible. And, I think you could move that even farther according to the offsets. If there's an adjacent building that's closer, you can try to match that. So if there's a house close by that is even closer to the street, to 7th Street, then you could even go farther east. But 25 feet is...
Is there parking along 7th or Walnut?
There's no curb on 7th Street, so you could do pull-in parking along the whole west boundary. Walnut Street has a curb, so that would have to be parallel parking. But what I drew up there too was 20 foot by 12 foot areas south and east of the building where you could park a couple, 2 or 3 vehicles.
And you're saying the entrance is off the patio?
For the houses, yeah. And there's a second entrance, or the second exit would be through the utility room. I drew this on AutoCAD. I don't have a house planning software, but so that'd be a kind of a common utility that each unit has access to. So that'd be their second exit.
So you would go through the space and out of the utility room at the back? There wouldn't be any street side entrances?
No, at least not the way I have it drawn. I mean, we could. There's definitely an area for that, especially in the 2-bedroom units.
Yeah.
I ideally wanted the main entrance to be towards the east, since that's where I feel you would want to have your front door towards the park and the trail.
And then the parking is off the alley? Is that an alley?
I was gonna plan for not even to have to use the alley, if it ended up getting vacated or something, I was gonna have enough room in between my property boundary and the building to have a full driveway to be able to access the parking if we ended up putting parking on east of the structure. I'd obviously be open to suggestions as far as if any design changes would be needed. So.
Would the space be sprinkled? Would there be sprinklers in this?
Probably not.
Okay.
I wasn't planning
I
on
don't know all the codes here, but I know, I don't know if, does fire code allow to just have one entrance into a space and not 2 exits of egress?
Well, there'd be, the second exit would be through the back.
Another space?
Yeah, through that back utility room, they all go into that one.
When you say utility room, where are you talking about a utility room? That's a utility room?
Well, it sounds like where they got each side.
Oh, I see, right there.
So it's kind of designed around that to help centralize the utilities and the kitchens. And then what that does is separate the bedrooms from one unit to the other to help for privacy reasons.
Is there water and sewer to that lot now?
No. We would bore it.
So is there a reason why you didn't put the parking here and put it here?
On the west side?
Yeah, well, is that because the entrances are on the east side, that's
Yeah,
why?
I figured, you could at least have a couple so that you're closer to your main entrance.
And how far is this space? Can we put a parking lot in a setback?
It being only concrete, the setback's made for the building itself.
And it wouldn't necessarily be in the setback, it would probably be in the area that would normally be between the sidewalk and the street, which is, right now, it's already rock. But
She's talking about the parking space on the east side.
Oh.
the parking space number 3 and that setback. Can we have a parking space and a setback, Dave?
And like I said, I think there's even room there to even put that even farther west, even if there was 3, or maybe you could only have 2. But
I just want to know if you could have a parking space in a setback.
Should be able to.
and
Every driveway you got's in the setback.
Okay, so so as long as it's just a flat cement slab is fine? Okay.
technically the setback on the east boundary, since it's not up against the street, would be 6 feet, but I drew in 25. Since I knew we didn't want to.
So from that east property line, how far is it from that to the trail, Nick?
From the property line?
Yeah, 10 feet or so?
Probably, yeah. That's probably pretty close.
So about that.
So like I said, that's why I wanted to stay as far west as we could.
Well, I echo what Darlene said, that I really do appreciate what you guys have done to some of those areas in our city. And they all look really nice.
Thanks. I just need to get some landscaping done in the spring, so I can.
Do you guys have any other questions for Nick? All right, thanks.
Yep, thanks.
This plan, if he does get the property, will have to go to a public hearing with the planning commission.
Okay.
Because it'll be use permitted, multifamily will be use permitted upon review, so.
What was that again, Dave?
I said all multifamilies are use permitted upon review, so it will need a public hearing and go before the planning commission.
Anything larger than a duplex
Yeah.
would require that, no matter where you are.
Okay.
Can he go with just a 25-foot setback on that corner? Or has it got to be 45?
45 for one.
Well, going off, does it have to be 45 on that front side from the street? From
25,
Walnut?
25 on here.
Okay.
And it's a corner lot, so it'll be 25 on both. But like you were saying, you come off an adjacent property, this could possibly be moved to the west a little more.
Okay.
Just so they were more in line with the other structures. But he set this in there at 25 feet, so.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Chris, I saw you stand up.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Chris Butler. As you guys probably know, I'm interested in the same lot. It's just north of my property that I've lived in since I was born. Moved away for a short time when I was about 18, 19, but moved back when my mom sold it to me. If I could just read some notes real fast. This process started some 5 months ago in November when the previous council agreed to get a survey of the lot done in preparation for accepting sealed bids. The reason given at that time was so the city could stop mowing it and to get it back on the tax roll. Basically saying so the city has less maintenance on it. I inquired about this same property back in 2012. Obviously before a lot of you guys' time, maybe not Kevin's, not sure. At that time I was told by the administrator that the city was not interested in selling at that time. So in November, when I seen you guys were willing to sell or take bids, I got excited, obviously. In February, early February, I received a letter from Austin stating that, that the documents call for development of the lot, but yet the city council has yet to decide if they will require development for the purchase of the land. He stated, if I'm interested in purchasing, please submit a bid. Which I did. I hope my bid kind of speaks for itself. I'm here to answer any questions with that. So last Wednesday, the bids were due, and I was made aware that I was indeed the highest bidder. So I'm asking council tonight to honor that high bid. So, any questions about my proposal?
So when you inquired about this land in 2012, none of us were on council except maybe Todd, but he's not here. So, there was no reason given, it was just the city didn't want to sell it?
Yeah, so I mean, I just went to the administrator's office and I was asking about, wanting to add to my property, obviously, and, yeah, I mean, he just said, no.
Okay. And so there are, so you would buy it
Yeah.
and then potentially develop a, add on to that?
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to say was, that I've heard the argument against me getting the property would be that, a building or a house or whatever would add higher monies to the tax revenues or whatnot. And I just want to state, that if I get that property, it can tie it into my property. My house ain't gonna sit idle as is. It's a ongoing process, and we would like to add on to the north side of it and re-side it, clean it up quite a bit. But that's not something that's gonna enter onto this property, and I didn't feel comfortable putting that into my development. I just didn't really want that to be part of the decision.
Okay. And then you had proposed that you thought the survey lines were too close to the
Yeah.
trail.
Yeah, and I just want to make clear that, I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody. I just don't feel anybody, including myself, should have that property that close to the walking trail. If for some reason I lost my job or something, I had to move next month, and I was able to get this property, I wouldn't want somebody that took my property and to be able to put, a dog pen up against that sidewalk, whatnot. So I'd like to buy the property as is and give that 20 foot that I stated back to the city, and I'd be willing to pay for that survey cost. I think it'd take 2 extra pins. So instead of 10 foot off the sidewalk, we'd be 30 foot off.
Do you know why we put it so close?
That was my oversight, because I was thinking, being the first property I've ever had surveyed, thinking we just needed enough to mow and keep the water lines for our sprinklers done. And after looking at this, he's right. It should be farther back. I did do an inquiry with CES with Rob, and he said it'd take about $250 to put it back 20 more feet, or back to what his line says.
And then ideally, you'd want to swap that land
Yeah.
for the alley easement?
Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have said swap, because I want to make clear also that I'm willing to buy this property without vacating that alley. I would just, if I was able to get that, I would ask that the city vacate the alley.
Well, it equals out the size of it.
Yeah, it's about the same area.
Yeah.
They're both 20 foot wide. The length, I'm not quite sure. I think it's roughly 130 foot each, roughly. I mean, give or take 10 foot.
Well, I drove by there today and I hadn't realized I thought it was a drive,
Yeah,
but an alley
yeah.
that goes
Yeah.
to the trail.
Yeah, so also I wrote, my family's owned that property since 1974. We've never asked the city to ever maintain that, ever, and that's not gonna change.
The city hasn't mowed that?
No,
No.
the alleyway.
The alley.
The alleyway.
Oh.
The alley, yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
was like, you mean we haven't been mowing that one?
No, we've been.
I'm sorry.
Does your sewer drop into that alley?
Yeah. And that's the only utility in there is my personal sewer.
Okay.
Gas line, the only thing is the
Gas
gas
lines
main
comes off the side?
runs parallel in
Yeah.
the parking there.
And you wrote something about water issues?
Yeah, so, I'm constantly fighting water off 7th Street. As Nick said, I think, 7th Street don't have any curbage, and it actually, the crown of 7th Street is about with my second or third step of my porch. So I'm constantly fighting some, street drainage, and, I'm kind of afraid of somebody, building up the property to the north of me, and, and I'd end up getting some more off of that with less green space, so.
Right now, you do not have a basement.
Correct.
Does anybody along that street get water in their basement? Or does anybody have basements, do you know? Do you
I
know?
don't know.
Yeah, I lived in the one on the corner of Oak and 7th, and they
Did
have
you
a
have a
basement.
basement?
And it didn't have any, well, in the limited time I was there and the few rains that I didn't have any water problems.
But it
that's-
slopes east rather than west, right? Or is it just midpoint?
No, it's crowned.
It goes both ways.
It's crowned
It
good.
goes both ways.
And it runs south to that,
Down along the,
to the community gardens.
yeah, down the garden.
The land itself, yes, when it does rain, you can see the puddles build up along
Yeah.
the side of the road.
It's just, there's not a lot of grade, so I'm constantly
It's just
kinda-
flat.
Yeah, it's flat.
I got 2 piles of dirt in my backyard just waiting for spring to hit so I can start doing some more maneuvering.
Well, and you dug the grader ditch out in front there to the south end to try to
Yeah.
get it around the corner too, so.
Why were no curbs added to 7th Street? I mean, it's a beautiful street.
It was the railroad track that was in that.
You mean when we, well, that was our
But after
project.
it was put in.
But darling, when we did that, that was the city was practicing, that was our practice area for putting cement streets in.
They did a
I
good
remember
job.
that. And they did a good job.
Yeah.
They need to keep it up.
Yeah. But we were just trying to decide, we got a new, did we get a new machine to do that? Or we just were I think we were just practicing laying concrete streets, and they did do a good job.
Yeah,
Although
I mean,
they
I
just did the
appreciate it.
street, they didn't,
That's fine.
yeah.
We had asphalt and rock in the middle where the railroad tracks were. Like I stated in my deal, I've known that area as railroad tracks for over half of my life, so I'm happy with anything the city's done to change that.
Well, I really do like your flagpole. I think I've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
I thought the city put that up. I was like, wow, great job. And then- That wasn't ours, and so. You guys have more questions for Chris?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have 3 bids. One from Josh Butler for $1,550, one from Nick Stoll for $5,000, and one for Chris Butler at $6,200. And he said he would pay the cost to change those survey to give that additional land back to the city. So we are blessed with a good problem that we have 2 people that want a piece of property that the city desires to sell, and both of them, I'm sure, would take good care of our property, and we are blessed to have both those people in our city. So with that being said, we do have to make that tough decision. So I would entertain a motion to accept one of the bids.
I'll make the motion, we accept Chris Butler's bid of $6,200.
And that he would pay the survey cost to give that land
And
back?
he would pay the survey cost to have it.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, is there any further discussion?
Madam President, Mayor, I'd like to mention one thing. If it was something that we ought to think about is that if any of us had a piece of property here in town and somebody's going to come in and build next to you, but you put in a bigger bid for the ground, I think we have to think of that. He's been here a long time. He's offered the best amount of money for it, and to split that up and change his plans when we could, somebody, Mr. Stoll or whoever, could go ahead and, we got a lot of property around here. And that's right next to Chris, and he's wanting it. I think we should consider Chris's offer.
I
That's
think,
my
though,
personal
there's a
opinion.
lot to do with,
Nick, you want to come to the podium so they can hear you?
I think you'll more than make up $1,200. The building permit alone is going to be about $1,600. So that will go directly to the city. The water bill, for example, that's all going to be coming through me. You're not going to have to run down people who aren't paying their bills, because I'm sure that happens a lot. And like I said, I think you'll more than make up your $1,200. And in terms of the supply of the locations that this would fit, I think are very slim, because, and you know, this is a testament to how good Chris is taking care of his property, because I might not be willing to do that unless Chris had some nice property. And the problem goes to, there really aren't very many places where you could put this and not feel comfortable that you're in as good of a location as you are here. So what I'm saying is there's not necessarily a backup plan, because those locations aren't as widespread.
Let me ask you this, is there anything that we could do as a council, or that we could have kind of a round table with the developers to things that we could do to make it easier for properties to be developed? I mean, we have a lot of empty lots around town. I mean, are there issues that you run into where you'd like to put something on a property and you can't fit it sometimes?
Fit is part of the problem, but, so, you mean, you pretty much have to have 2 lots, which this is 2 lots, and...
Yeah, but that's the thing, a lot of the houses down in my ward and around where I live were built on 1 lot, or sometimes 3/4 of a lot.
Yep.
And if you tear the structure down, then you have a hard time fitting anything back on the same lot. Then you're stuck with trying to find a lot either next door that you can buy, and it might be a FEMA lot that you can't buy, or it might be a property owner that doesn't want to sell their property.
Exactly.
And then you end up with an empty lot sitting there.
And with a corner lot, if you only had 1 lot, it's impossible to build anything there again. If lot's 44 feet wide and a corner lot offset is 25 feet, and your structure has to be at least 20 feet wide. So the numbers just don't work.
Carla, didn't you say something, or was it something put out about there may be the FEMA lots coming up?
Well, Debbie distributed that, didn't you, Debbie? Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you get that email?
Yeah, I think I did.
To be honest, I haven't had a chance to read it. Did you read it, Jason, about the FEMA lots?
I didn't get it. I went back and looked, and I need to...
Yeah, the FEMA lots, there's something, what is it, Debbie, that they were saying about it?
I didn't look over it very
It was
in depth. I know it takes a while. I mean,
it was an article from the North Central Planning Commission. Did you have a chance to read it, Craig?
No,
okay, so we have it. The potential, we just need to read it and see how we can apply it to our city, because there's got to be other cities that have the FEMA lot issues besides Marysville, Kansas.
There's how many down there?
I think we have 18, don't we, or 20?
Yeah, 20. It's federal, so it's going to take a lot, I think, to...
But still,
and I don't think the rule just applies to Marysville.
No, that's just it. There's federal disasters all over, and you can't tell me that Marysville's unique in federal disasters for flooding, and we got Louisiana. So we just have to figure out how to fix it. But anyway, we do appreciate your comment, and we do appreciate that you want to develop land in Marysville. And there's a great big lot, kind of by your lot.
Which one?
The one that's empty, that he tore down all that?
That's a little expensive.
Oh, it is expensive. Oh, you know which lot I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all, yeah.
Anyway.
That's for sale.
And,
It's for sale, but he just said
helps,
it's really expensive.
And if one of the concerns is having the property drawn differently, I'm perfectly fine with moving that line, because that shouldn't affect, the plan at all. And I think that's probably where it should be anyway. So, and I'll more than willing to pay the $250 resurvey cost.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? So we have a motion and a second, correct? To
accept the bid.
To accept the $6,200 bid.
And the survey.
and the survey, including the survey.
Discussion?
Discussion.
I just want to say, I appreciate what Mr. Stoll has done. I've seen what his dad's done, and they're really, really, really nice houses. But on the flip side, Chris has been an extremely good steward to the area, to the gardens down there. You know, he just, and I think what he said, he's going to cut out all those trees and, you know, just kind of keep it green.
He's going to prune the trees. He's not going to cut them down.
He's going to prune them, but the whole thing is it's a park area. That's, I'm going to tell you right now, that's my only beef on that. It's a park area. People come down the trail at all times, people with dogs, people with kids. And on one hand, it's okay, but maybe I'm just being no fuddy-duddy. But it's a park, we have the pool, we have the community garden, we have all of this going on down there. I just think it should be kept that nice green area. It's a nice green lawn area. That's what I think it should be kept. But that's one opinion out of 9.
That's my opinion too. I really appreciate what Nick is trying to do. I just wish there was another space
for him to do it. Yeah.
But I'd like to see the green space.
Because we've got, not too many blocks away, we have, as we discussed at our last meeting, big part of the school up there with nothing. You know, it's
with no green space.
Just concrete. We got lots of concrete, you know. So, but that, I think, and everybody, we talk about, you know, how concrete, you know, makes it hot and, you know, asphalt makes things hot. And we need to keep, you know, the trees, and we need to keep the grass. We need to do that, even in our, especially in our small communities. But, you know, whatever that's worth.
I think the last time that there was a house, there was probably about 15 years ago. And then there originally was 2. There was one farther north, even that many more years ago.
Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. So, again, I know that was a very difficult decision. Very seldom do we have 2 good choices. So, I know it was a tough decision for everyone. All right. Do we want to talk about vacating that alley? Are you serious? You want that alley vacated?
Yeah.
Do we want to go ahead and make a motion to start the process on that ordinance? There's no reason to keep that as an alley.
If there's no utilities that run through there, it's pointless to.
So I would just entertain a motion to draft an ordinance to vacate the alley.
Would that be done after the close of the sale?
Oh, we would wait? Okay, then we can wait.
Probably.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney, we shall wait. Okay, just trying to get things wrapped up here.
Appreciate it.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the Marshall County Task Force.
Bring my backup with me.
Sometimes we need a backup.
State's trying to get organized mutual aid in the whole state, so they're setting these up county by counties. So when you have these large fires like they had in Hutchinson and down by Dodge and stuff, they have an idea how much equipment out here that could possibly come down to help them out. I think we got, what, 3 or 4 may commit here in Marshall County.
So you don't have anybody else committed to this yet? You don't?
We got a rural from Blue House, Waterville, and Keto. They're going back through the same process. We've asked them to go back, make sure they've talked to their boards and stuff like that. Waterville, I know, is going to go to their city council here, and so that's where we're at right now. We're kind of the preliminary, making sure we have approval from the chief, the individual fire chief that wants to participate in this, all volunteer, and that they kind of go back to council, and they have that okay from them.
Is this kind of just making it more formal where it kind of happens anyway?
Yeah, in the last couple of years, Blue Rapids Waterville, we sent out a page, if anybody wanted to go, Kansas Mutual Aid State, Blue Rapids Waterville, I sent some trucks to, Best Lodge, when we was down there for the fire, they sent a couple trucks down for a day or two, and then we was at Reno County. Last year, they sent a couple, 3 trucks down with some manpower, and it did work a couple shifts, and they were home. This is more of a formal thing that we would set up. That's what the State Fire Marshal and the Chiefs Association for the state was asking that we set up a task force. Just kind of formal name of the trucks that we would send, have a listing with them, so when they show up, they would all go as one group. We'd have a leader with them. It helps do the incident management side to make it go a little smoother when they show up. We already know we got 6 trucks or 5 trucks and a tanker. They got a leader. When we put them right here, we know what division we're going to work with and how they're going to work together. And it also keeps our departments kind of working together to know each other. So you can get put together with somebody from another Southwest that you may not know. This way, at least everybody should know each other. And we all pretty much fight fires the same way here in Marshall County.
So we would all, not that this is a major part of it, but we would incur our own cost, right?
Yes.
Okay. So not that that's a big factor.
This is all volunteer.
Yeah.
No reimbursement from the manpower through the state or anything like that. What has happened in the past is you pay your fuel bill down. Usually when you get there, a lot of times that county or your jurisdiction will fuel your trucks while you're on scene. Take care of that stuff, feed and water you. That's kind of a given, but not necessarily will happen. And they'll usually fuel you before you go home. Most of the time we have 2 big fires that I've worked as a safety officer. We've made them put up shelters for the firefighters so they don't have to incur hotel room if they don't want to. They could go to the church basement, for some cots and stuff like that. Or you give them a shower place and they usually feed them there, things like that.
Okay.
This usually runs 2-day
Yeah,
shifts.
what we're trying to do right now is with the state's kind of support, they usually go for a 2-shift. If you do the morning shift and then, or the day shift, usually 12-hour shift, and then you come back the next day. So we can kind of count on that. Sometimes when you're shifting everybody, when you're shifting 300, 400 firefighters every day, it gets, the paperwork gets to be, so if you know you got this guys, you know we got to say 300 or 400 for the next day and stuff like that.
Makes
And
sense.
it's not uncommon to have that many firefighters on some of these. Like last year, some of them had 500 or 600 firefighters working a shift, which is a lot, try and keep track of it. That's why we're trying to put them into groups. It's a little easier to ask for the manpower when they go out. So we're in the emphasis stage, we're just trying to get this set up. The Chiefs Association thought it was a good idea to do this through our county. Not that the county's backing this, when we, it's up to the chiefs all get together and say, hey, this looks like maybe a better way for us to deploy out, to help out our neighbors around the state.
And I did ask Austin if it had any impact on our fire contracts, and he said no, with our townships. So the townships were required. This is not mandatory. This is, we volunteer to go to serve.
Let me state something there. At any time that there's something going on in our county, that fire chief has the right to say, hey, you know what, we got some stuff going on, or we see some stuff maybe happening that we can't play this time. And yet, we're going to give everyone the right to not send somebody if they don't want to. They do not have to go every time. Okay, we're not taking away any rights in that fire chief. We're not, they're going to still follow their protocol and stuff like that when they're out there. Even though there's different departments, they're going to follow Marysville's protocols, SOGs when they're on that scene.
Okay.
Even though they might have somebody else leading them, but they're still going to follow our safety and stuff like that that we have set up.
You guys have any questions for these guys? I would entertain a motion to establish this Marshall County Task Force and mutual aid with this, through the state.
I think we're only planning on probably sending like the one smaller brush truck.
They wouldn't ask you.
But, yeah, unless they get into something real serious, we can send a
We
tanker
can
or
limit it to that, just a brush truck?
Well, what we're gonna do is if Waterville sends a brush truck, and Blue Rock sends a brush truck, and Marysville sends a brush truck, Peel, I'm just gonna use this for example, is gonna send a tanker, and we may, that gives us 3 or 4, somebody else like Frank was thinking about it, they're coming in, that's just talking states too. So that gives us 5 brush trucks as this task force goes together. That
Do
way
we
we're not
commit-
depleting anybody from any one department.
So do we commit on here that it's a brush truck? I mean, I didn't really see that.
Well,
This is just the thing I sent you, that's just a guideline from another department.
you got,
County.
he can send whatever truck he wanted. That's up, that would leave that up to Chiefs.
So you're just saying this is kind of a draft and we would write our own date?
Yeah, I think this would be a county type thing, I mean,
Yeah, this is just something to let you guys know that we're not holding anybody liable, you guys are still kind of,
So are you going to propose to draft one specific for us? Is that
yeah,
what you're
all the
saying?
fire chiefs in our monthly meetings, or I guess every 2 months.
Okay.
We're not asking, our intention was never to deplete any one fire department.
Yeah, I don't-
We're just asking you to join with one truck,
Okay.
whatever truck he decides, or you guys.
Yeah, I don't
decide
want to send 2 trucks or 3 trucks.
And we're not gonna send 20 guys from here.
Yeah.
That defeats the purpose of not being able to protect our own home area.
So you're saying we could draft up a contract basically saying the same thing about what we would contribute?
This is just kind of an overview.
Okay.
I got this from another county, trying to get started.
Okay.
And so everybody's just kind of looking at it.
That's good to know.
And this thing also had, yeah, this also had sheets in here where we got the inventory on the trucks, so they know what is coming before it gets there, and, yeah, there's all kinds of different things here to.
So is there a consensus of council to have David go ahead and pursue this and draft one up for our city? Sure. Participate in this?
Yeah.
Yes?
I just have one question. So like, if we participated in this, that means that like, we would be involved with this bigger network? So if something
Correct.
would happen here, these people would also come here?
Yes.
Yes. We could ask them to come in as mutual aid. We bring these task force to Marshall County, we don't need one. It's just kind of a pay it forward.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't never need them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it would work both
It
ways.
works both ways, yeah. They would come up here and help us too. They have. Well, I've seen people on these come from all over the state. I think the last one, last year when we had the big ones, I think there was only 2 to 3 counties in the whole state that didn't have somebody represented in 1 or 2 big fires last year. Of some sort, that didn't send help of some way. And the 3 that did, 2, 3, they already had big fires going on their own. So that's the reason they just sent people. So.
And it would mainly just be like 4 people go with a truck. That way
Okay.
they run 2 12-hour shifts, and they're there with 2 guys and off and on, so. Yeah, we're not gonna deplete a whole bunch of people and trucks out here.
Okay, so the consensus was to proceed to draft, so you'll draft one up for us to sign?
Yeah, and we'll
Okay.
probably draft this up like, as a
Chief's thing, yeah.
task force, the
That's
whole
just something
thing.
to look at.
Okay,
Yeah. And we just got this last Monday night, so.
okay. Well, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for preparing us for an emergency. Hopefully we'll never have to use it.
Oh, I will also, I had Forester grant again this year, so I'll start working something on it.
You mean complete the application?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dave.
And the fire brigade is in April sometime, so get some stuff for that.
I read in the highlights where you were unhappy with some generator review or test, and you told them that we weren't going to pay for that because it wasn't adequate?
Well, yeah, the guy come out 2 weeks ago, and nothing was wrong with this one. Nothing was wrong with PD. This guy come out of Kansas City. The other guy that comes out here most of the time, is a real nice guy, but he pulled the stuff up on the computer back here that the other guy said you can't. All the times this is an alarm back here, it's alarmed 21 times. He knew what it was alarming for. He felt the block heater, the thermostat, and it was cold, it was hot. He says that thermostat shot. That's why it was alarming, because that's what it was basically telling him. We went over to PD with the block heater. The other guy said that's not leaking. I called him and said it's leaking. When he got here, red antifreeze, underneath it. He said, that thing's leaking. So all the things, this guy just came through here and then he started building this, and this, and this. The head guy, our service guy that was here the last time got on his boss and he told me just to get a hold of him and confirm what he was gonna tell him. So they're gonna check on this guy from Kansas City and see what's going on.
Well, I appreciate you
Yeah, he
following
just
up.
told us to
and-
tear up that, whatever he did 2 weeks before, to just get rid of it. And
I appreciate you saving the city tax dollars there and following on a job not well done.
no, it wasn't. This guy just acted like, nope, nothing wrong, you can't do this. In fact, he said if this alarm's back here again, take a picture of the digital panel up there, which I did last week, and I set it in, and the head guy in Topeka, I think's where it was at, he said, that thing ain't telling me anything. I said, well, you told us to send that down here. So he showed it to Gerald, and he came out here, and Gerald's real sharp on all that.
Well, I appreciate you doing that.
Come out here and take care of it, because it's costly for them people to come out here with that equipment, so. That's kind of why we do our own oil changes and everything, but you get into the computer stuff, different times, nobody can get into the computer, because the company Caterpillar owns that right with their computers and stuff. So,
Did you want to?
that's what that was all about.
Since Bill's here.
Is Bill still here? There he is.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share? We're kind of a new council, and you have that NIMS training
Oh.
on next week, I believe?
Next,
On the
21st?
On the 21st, yeah. So-
Yes, that's one. Not this coming Wednesday,
Yeah.
21st, too.
Yeah,
What it's for is it's going to go over during disaster, what will be required of your council, your mayors and stuff like that. Kind of as a 402, but some of you may have went through that, a couple, 3 or 4 years ago, we hosted that. It's going to be a shortened version. The other chief is a regional coordinator. He's going to go over how disaster works, how that process works for you guys, how it works through me. I know how it works, so you guys know what we do, how that gets declared and how things, what you guys, maybe some responsibilities that maybe the council will be responsible for. You know, that happens in Marysville, what some of your things you may be thinking about, how you're gonna handle that. So they'll be discussing some of that. This guy is also an ex-state FEMA guy that worked on all the.
oh, maybe we can talk to him, FEMA.
Well, he won't answer.
I'm just
He
kidding.
may be able to answer something about the disaster stuff that the site he was on, how all that paperwork goes, and things like that. So hopefully, I try to talk him into that. I think it's gonna be about 45 minutes of PowerPoint, and then maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, however long it takes for questions and answers for you guys.
And who's invited to this?
We went ahead and invited any of the commissioners, and we did send it out to our rest of our city councils and stuff around in our townships.
Okay.
I think we're probably 15 maybe.
Okay.
They're all at that time.
Well, thank you for doing that as well.
But those NIM classes, they're not required to take anymore?
It would be very, very helpful if you guys took 100, 200, 700, 800. They're online classes. That spells out this incident management stuff. They're online. I got to tell you, as an elected official, we cannot force you to take them. Fire department guys, their holdup is, our law, they start losing grants if we don't have so many people that are at certain levels. They don't allow them to go through the grant program, especially at the federal level. The AFP grants and stuff like that, they'll ask how many people do you have on your quorum, how many people are at NIMS level 700, 800.
Even forestry's that way too.
Yeah, so they're starting to get on that, and if you don't have, that number doesn't, I mean, it doesn't have to be 100%, but it's got to be up there, and if they don't start getting matching, if it's close, then the next doing the next stuff is going to be setting back.
Well, Dave, you keep on our toes. Keep making sure we know what we're supposed to be doing regarding that. We don't want to let you down.
I worry more about those guys over there.
I know, but if you need us, let us know.
It's a 402 class, but it just depends, and it is for elected officials.
Okay.
There's no test, guys, it's just going to, you're going to sit down and go through prior slides with you and talk to you about it. If you have any questions, sure, bring them up.
Okay.
I'll be here to answer some of them. Todd's coming, everyone's coming over too. that night, so we'll be here to help answer any questions.
And when is that?
The 21st? I think we
7
set
o'clock.
something
Yeah.
down here to be passed out for you guys
Okay.
at 7 o'clock here in the chambers.
Did you get that? Okay.
I sent it out to everybody.
Yep. Got it.
All right. Anything else? Thank you very much. All right. The next business and discussion item is the audits. They're listed on page 23. I noticed the Barney and Associates one didn't give us a single audit price. Don't you think that's odd?
She called and asked and said I forget if she said a price or not, but it wasn't required in the bid documents. We haven't needed one in when's the last time we had a single audit?
It's been a while.
Well, Debbie said we'd have to have one though if we get that
Possibly next year, yeah. Next year would need one. But the conversation was, I didn't think think it would be exorbitant. Anywhere, I mean, it might be a $4,000 charge.
Well, I kind of wondered if our bids were really apples to apples and oranges to oranges.
We gave them all the same information. They went through all our, we had a bid document that they had to go by. And they had all the same information.
Is they're not giving us all the same kind of bids
Yeah.
in the dollar amount. When you get to the single
They
audit.
want us to negotiate on the other deal? What is this?
A single audit is if we get more than $750,000 in federal funds, the federal government requires us to do a single audit. So it's not a normal thing that everybody does, especially at this level. As Debbie said, we haven't had a single audit in a while, but we're anticipating one next year.
Well, so when we did the bids, we didn't request that as part of it?
We didn't require it, but we said to tell us if they had single audit experience.
But they're the only ones that didn't put a price down?
Right.
So
I don't
the
know, how do you
single
guys feel
audit
about
is
that?
required if we, in 1 year's time,
1 year's time
get more than $750,000 in government funds.
in federal funds.
And
Well,
then we have to
another-
keep doing it for each year that the money's outstanding, is that true? Like if it goes over a 2-year period, would we have to do a single audit for 2 years?
If there's 750,000 each year for federal funds that we receive.
Just when we receive the money
Receive
for
it,
the specific
right,
project
right.
that it was for?
Right.
So it would just be on a project basis rather than a
Right,
calendar year
yes.
basis?
Now, one thing I noticed is only 2 of the firms noted that they have an auditor in their company.
That, I believe that they had different names for their positions. Like, one had principal, one had partner, two of them called themselves auditors, and one had a quality control, one had a manager. It's just, they're the same positions in different companies.
But usually a principal or a partner, that means they're the owners of the company, not
Right.
necessarily auditors.
Right.
I know that Barney's works with other cities, and I know that Reese works with other cities, our current auditors. Do the other 2 companies work with cities? I think they
All
do.
of them had,
Yeah.
so each one of them had, there's Reese and Novelli listed 5, James Gordon and Associates listed 10 cities, Von Felt, Bauer and Von Felt listed 11, Varney and Associates listed 10 cities.
Debbie,
I
have
think
you
we're at a
had,
little disadvantage knowing that we're gonna have to do a single audit and that one didn't bid a single audit.
Debbie, have you had much feedback from other cities on audits?
No, I think I think every so often cities go out for bid on this, and, I know that sometimes they kind of suggest switching auditors, but I don't think there's anything mandatory that says that. I really don't, I think that they're all capable.
Well, you know, that single audit, when you look at it by itself, somebody bid fourth, the lowest is 3,500 and the highest is 6,200. So that's a big part of the price.
Is that in addition?
In addition, yes.
So Barney's could be a lot higher then. They had to
If,
do a
well, if
second
you,
sale audit.
I mean, if you, that's where negotiations.
Well, we're not in a place, the problem is that we wouldn't be in a place to negotiate it because we already have them hired.
And so it would be.
So they could just charge us whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
So we're kind of at a stuck, that's not a good position to be in.
They charge us $3,500, then we're up to $1,550.
Well, no, if they
If they charge you like 6 or 7 or
Yes. Yeah, they're
10,
no
because
longer-
they would know that you needed it, so
Yeah.
you can charge whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demand.
So then they're higher than anybody.
Well, they're an unknown instead of,
Madam Mayor, there was the auditors was just here the other day, weren't they?
yes.
Who were they?
Reese and
Reese.
Novelli.
Who?
Reese and Novelli.
We've had them since 2007.
I
And
see.
from some, you can look at it, is that they know the staff well, they know the city well. The flip side it is, it's sometimes good to switch switch accountants
Auditors.
because you want to, you don't want to get too close to them, or I don't know how to say that.
Want to bring something new to the table.
Yeah. So sometimes it's good to switch auditors as well, even though they've been here for 11 years. So the good side is that they know the staff, they know the business, they know the city. The bad side is they get too comfortable and,
And just to put this out there, I'd be fairly comfortable after talking with some of the, if we're going to switch with either of the other ones as well, especially after talking with some of their current clients. They spoke very highly of them. Each one of them, each person that I talked to did, obviously, as they're listed as references, that they didn't have anything bad to say, or they had nothing but praise.
I really don't feel comfortable going with the lowest bid since we don't know the cost of a single audit.
yeah, I think that puts us in an awkward position. Yes, Terry?
Could I ask a question? Has anybody called and talked to this outfit that's got the lowest bid about doing this single?
Well, you can't do it now after they gave the bid, and now it's an open record. So now they can't give us a bid for it because they know what everyone else's bid is. You know, they had to, if it was in the bid document, then it's their loss, you know, their mistake.
I see.
But if we go with James Gordon, the audit is $13,000, and then a single audit would be $4,000 plus that.
Would be 13 plus the 4,000, yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
single audits don't
So if we
come
go
along a
through
lot.
with James Gordon, then we would,
That would probably be the lowest one with a known amount,
right.
yeah.
What
Yeah,
are the-
because Von Felt, they have charged quite a bit for single audits, yes?
What's the different price points?
As far
Oh,
as
each year is different.
Each year, yeah, they raise it each year.
Well, I'll make a motion, we go with James Gordon and Associates for the $13,000, and then the $4,000.
For the 3
With-
years?
Yeah. And then the single audit of $4,000 if we would need a single audit.
Okay, but it would be a 3-year contract, so it'd be
Yes.
a contract with them for
Yes.
3 years. Okay. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
I just have one question. Does it matter that there's no partners or principals? It's just 2 auditors? Is that?
That was one thing that I saw. Everybody else goes, well, these are the people you're going to work with, and we have this over here, but never listed out all the, and they're the only ones that said, I'm your guy, and this is your guy, and didn't say there wasn't anybody else, but didn't say there was. I mean, That was
Well, the
only-
good thing is that your references said they were fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
was
it,
just curious.
and it said that they had 10 cities that they audited. That's a pretty significant number.
I mean, they probably have principals in their firm. It's just these two auditors are allotted to
Right.
this account.
Right. It was only that was my only small, I guess, critique, if
Right.
you will.
Any other discussion? So we have a motion to accept the 3-year contract with James Gordon and Associates. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. All right. Notices and hearings. Do you want to report on the planning commission, Darlene? Or you weren't there? Do you want to say anything?
The one item was, Nick Stoll did appear before the commission and wanted to get a feeling of how the zoning and planning would address his proposal.
And that was the only thing they discussed?
That's all that
Okay.
I know of.
Since it was more than $2, it was use permitted, and to have a use permitted hearing, you have to go before
Review.
the board to decide that does indeed fit the,
Use is permitted?
well, that doesn't, basically they have to say, does that use fit the neighborhood? And they all said yes. And so then they decided, and that's when you go to the hearing, and that's actually next month.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Nick. And thanks, Darlene. All right, we'll move ahead to the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I have a second.
Is there any discussion?
I might mention that there were a couple in the city clerk's report, a couple donations. Marshall County District Court donated $100 towards DARE, and the UP employees donated $50 toward the fire department.
Oh, well, that was nice. We need to recognize those donations. Thank you for pointing those out. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. The next item is the appropriations ordinance.
I move to approve appropriations ordinance number 3670 in the amount of $300,477.02. Two large items in there are a final lagoons payment of $127,672 plus cents, and Breeding Heights loan payment of the bond and interest number 1A in the amount of $24,689.
Okay. Thank you for noting that. Is there a second for a motion to approve it?
A second.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? I will note that I'm delighted that that's our last sewer debt. So now we only have, or I should say that's the last payment of the big sewer debt. We have a small sewer debt left, and but that's a great, we gain $250,000 a year now in the sewer that we can use for CIPP as well as storm sewer improvements and holes like we're digging today at with Deep Creek Construction, right?
That's water, yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's water, okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Boss?
Yes.
Pipia?
Yes.
Graham?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Stroller?
Yes.
Throm?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
7-0.
All right, Austin, you're up.
All right, first on the list is a CIPP bid, secured in place piping. We do this every year, and we budgeted $200,000 to do this. This year, we increased our pipe to be lined by 5,000 linear feet because of our last payment on our debt. so we could get as much done as possible. So I planned the CIPP to try to get as close to that 200,000. I kind of figured it'd go over this year based on previous pricing. We were kind of fortunate this year. We had a few bidders in, 3 bidders, in Situform, Midland Contracting, and Lane Inliner. The lowest bid for the city of Marysville, which is the criteria that is put forth in the document as far as who's being accepted. Midland Contracting put the lowest bid for city of Marysville. And they put in a bid of $177,390.39, and that's $20.49 a linear foot. Last year we paid about $24 a linear foot, and one of the reasons they gave for such a low bid, especially that mobilization, is they're in the area. They're going to finish completely doing Seneca's sewers. They just did it all in one sweep, and they're anticipating another local bid, so they're in the area.
They are doing lining all the sewer lines in Seneca.
In Seneca, yes.
Do you know how much that cost them?
$1 million or so, somewhere.
Would you find out? And find out how many linear feet it is? I would love to know.
Yeah.
I mean, one true swoop, and see if they charge you a low amount.
Okay.
I mean, it's something we should at least consider.
That would just open up another sewer loan, but that's a good idea.
No, but then we'd get it all done.
Exactly. No. Okay, 1 second.
So check with Seneca. Because last year ours was $24 a foot with in situ form. So this came in quite a bit cheaper. But I mean, if we can, we are trying to help these other cities piggyback us. Now we actually got the benefit of piggyback Seneca, because from a mobilization standpoint. And, but I would like to know how much. I mean, I don't know. I know we have a huge amount left to do, but we should at least get the number from them.
I can get that. That's no problem.
So whatever company we choose is who these other cities will use as well?
By definition, in our bid document, to keep it all simple, it says if we're going to accept a bid, it has to be, as long as they're a good contractor, it has to be the lowest for the city of Marysville. So yes, this, by definition, they are choosing Midland.
So last year we didn't have that in the contract. They came in and ours was the highest and gave us all the mobilization, and all the other cities, it was cheaper. And I said, well, how can we do this to the residents of Marysville? So we rejected all of them, and then we rebid it with that stipulation that we have the right to choose the lowest for Marysville, and we got it rebid. And now going forward, we didn't make that mistake.
Right.
Which
Yeah, and in general, it benefits, in fact, you can see how it benefits them, because if they were just to contract with Midland or In Situ Form or Lane Inliner on their own for their
Smaller amount of project.
for their small project, it would be immensely higher. So we're trying to do our best for our neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move to accept the bid from Midland Contracting for the 2018 CIPP for $177,390.39 to come out of the sewer fund, and with Lynn, Waterville, Greenleaf, and Frankfurt
You don't have to,
being able to pick.
you don't have to include those last parts, but it's,
out of the sewer revenue fund.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Are we gonna look into doing more, or?
Well, this is what we'll do for right now, and I'm thinking next year. I mean, it's good to know right now before our budget workshop, just to hear that number.
Got it.
So, any further discussion? So I have a motion, second, to accept Midland Contracting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0, all right.
okay. Second one is the HVAC bids, HVAC bids for City Hall. We had 3 bidders. Thermal Comfort out of Manhattan, B&W Electric, and Hanover Electric. all provided bids for 93% and 95% furnace, efficient furnaces. Let's see. And I kind of simplified it on my cover sheet for the bids. And the lowest bid was B&W, and I was recommending going with just a 93% efficient furnace. As I've had conversations with each one of these bidders, as well as some of the others that have come and looked, and other contractors saying that the 95% efficient furnace includes extra computer parts, and if they break down, it's more expensive than if something broke on the 93%. And so I'm thinking that $3,000 more in the front could cost us even more on the end if something were to break. So that's why I went with how I wanted to go. And we have this in the budget. We budgeted $50,000 for this project.
Is there any maintenance contracts or anything with these? I don't know, does it need maintenance? Is there?
I've been looking into an overall maintenance program, but not specifically for this project.
There'd be normal guarantees on it.
There'd be normal guarantees, yes. And if I'm correct, if you hook on any furnace or air conditioner to a commercial building, which is what this is, you have a 1-year warranty compared to some of the longer warranties that a residential place will get. So there will be the standard warranties attached to these products.
Will you call them and ask them, put it in the highlights, what the warranty is?
Okay.
Please. Good question. I did ask Austin what he thought the payback would be per year in making this improvement, and he said $4,000 to $5,000 a year. If that's true, we pay it back in 6 years, so that would be amazing. So anyway, I would entertain a motion to accept one of these bids, which...
Move to accept the low bid from B&W Electric, $25,567.
And that is coming out of the general fund, correct?
It's coming out of it's split three, from general, water, and sewer. We separated it.
General,
yeah,
water, revenue, and sewer revenue?
Yes.
Is that your motion, Kev? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. And just so we find out the warranty.
Okay.
Hopefully it won't make a major difference in our decision.
Right.
The next item is the downtown tree project, and I would like to consider postponing that to next meeting, and the reason being is because the huge difference is in the maintenance program and the watering, and I tried to call Kim Baumberger this today, and I couldn't get a hold of her. But my real concern is that Prairie Stone said that they only have to water it 4 times a year with a fall planting. And Gudenkopf comes in and says, you have to water it 28 times the first year. And that's a huge difference, and that really is the difference in the 2 bids. And until I find out from Kim, if 3 seem like not enough waterings for this type of tree, and we're doing the tree she recommended. So I would like to have an opportunity to talk to her about the watering. Are you guys okay with that, postponing it to next meeting?
If you consider, they both have a warranty on their product. Prairie Stone has a 2-year warranty. So if they're and I'm fine with postponing it, but they're saying that 4 would be good, and then they're going to be maintaining it for the next 3 years. So if they fail within the next 2 years, they're going to be replacing what they just planted.
I just don't want them tearing up trees, and to be honest, I would rather go with the local guy, Gudenkopf from Marysville, and if we really need to water the trees more than that, I would like to do it on the front end rather than have them die and pull them up. So I just, again, would like to talk to Kim about it. Are you guys, and I also wanted to talk to her about planting in the fall versus the spring. Are you guys okay with that? Waiting for that to come back?
Just to get the extra information.
I think it's important.
I think it is too. Like we had talked about trees before. You can plant them in the fall, but they say they do just as well, but you also have to have a decent winter with a lot of snow and a lot of moisture in the ground. You know, we haven't had that.
And see, the bid price in there that Austin put in there was for 4 waterings. Well, they said they would do 4, maybe 8. If you do 8 waterings.
in the spring.
8 if you do it in the spring. That's why I was recommending the fall. And they had some, they said it would, Prairie Stone described their process of bringing the trees in, and they were recommending going with the fall over my phone conversation. That's why I was going with their recommendation on the low bid. And that's how I got my information.
I would just like to hear it from Kim. Are you guys okay with that?
Move the table downtown tree program for 2 weeks.
Yeah, until the next meeting, and hopefully Kim will, I called her this morning and didn't hear back from her all day, so we'll deal with that next week.
Could I ask a question about that though?
Yes.
First, just say we have an accident here in town and nobody catches it. A semi or cement truck, I don't care what, drives up on one of these businesses' sidewalk and it's damaged and nobody knows who did it. Does the city fix that parking or does the business take care of their own parking?
The parking in the curb? You mean if somebody damages a curb?
Street, yes.
Damages a curb?
The tree, you mean?
The sidewalk.
The sidewalk. If somebody comes up on the sidewalk and
Is that the
damages...
city's bill, or is that gonna be that the business there, they had the damage done, that they're gonna have to figure out what to do?
Greg, you know?
The sidewalks are owned by businesses, not the city downtown.
It was what?
Insurance would cover it probably.
But you wouldn't, he's saying if you don't know.
I'm not sure. It probably depends on all of the facts.
Well, the reason I asked that question is because I've had 2 or 3 people, and I haven't had a positive feedback from anybody about putting the trees back. That's regardless of the fact. But if the tree goes back, if we put the tree in, and the guy at the business really didn't want the tree to begin with?
That's why we asked them.
Well, I think we're only putting the trees where the businesses wanted it.
Yeah, it's not just going...
So the trees aren't evenly spaced, they're just in front of businesses where they want them.
Right.
And they're not gonna be where they don't want them.
Right.
Right.
Or you're not gonna force them on anybody, that's all I want.
No. We specifically went and did a survey, and even where there's a tree, there's an open tree spot, perfectly where there's nothing where the tree would hit, and that business owner did not want it, they're not putting it there.
Okay, now, is there some of those that there are bare spots for trees, but they're not gonna be trees?
Right, yeah.
Are we gonna address fixing that sidewalk there, or are we gonna leave that dirt hole there?
We're gonna put bricks there, right, like everywhere else.
Because I haven't gotten any good feedback, I just wonder what was happening. So if you're gonna put it off till next time, that's great.
Okay. All right, what else do you have, Austin?
I got financials. Let me just read that. The expenses were higher than last year in the general fund due to some bills that normally get paid in January. January's was a little bit lower than normal, so it kind of evened out. We actually spent in January and February combined $7,885 less than 2017 so far. Water revenue is down from last year, but I expect once people start watering, it'll pick back up. We've been having, like everybody's been saying, it's been dry. So I think that'll pick up. Sewer revenue is down as it tracks with water usage, but the fund is still increasing. Sales tax revenue is about the same up to this point as last year. We're still anticipating funds from KDOT, about $300,000 for the clean project, and there's really been no real movement in our project cost records.
So that KDOT, so what do they need to do yet?
Our engineers weren't satisfied with how they sealed in the manholes.
Well, that was a concern of yours, wasn't it?
So they sent them back. They sent them the punch list back and said, hey, you need to fix this. So that's what we're waiting on. Hopefully those subcontractors will get back and do that, but that's something we're waiting on.
Do they have a certain time frame to get, have we paid them all their money?
No.
Okay. We're not gonna pay them any more money till they finish it?
Nope.
Okay, well, you can encourage them to do that so we get our 300,000. We can't get our 300,000
Until we're done. Yeah.
Southwestern Bell gonna have Hall Brothers fix the hole over there?
That one, right up.
The new one that they cut out?
Yes. They're waiting for the heat to come up and them to actually turn the plant on. So we'll get that fixed.
They just didn't want coal mix back.
They promised when they cut that open that they would fix it as close back as it was.
Street was down 60 days and somebody cut in it.
Well, then we had that semi tear apart too, so not a good start. Do you have anything else?
Yes. Something I put in my highlights that I wanted to talk about is the city interested in basically creating a 501c3. So when people donate to the city, it can be tax deductible. Right now, if you donate for the fire department or the parks or anything like that.
It's just a donation?
It's just a donation. And I think if we create a 501c3, we can one, help the taxpayer and get it on their taxes, and two, encourage people to donate to things like the fire department and parks and all that stuff.
So would we just make, who would be the 501c3?
That, I'm not an expert in this. I just know that it is possible.
Do you know, Craig?
I don't personally know about the best way to do that with the municipality. Obviously, you got to qualify. There are some steps that have to be taken. You're aware of other cities that have done it, though?
Yes.
Marysville piggybacks onto Manhattan.
That's a community.
That's the community
The
one.
community, yeah.
Which is a
So which would be the
separate
same.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
isn't
could we
that
set
what
up
we
a
would want to
Marysville
do?
fund?
We'd
Is through
want
the
to-
community?
Yeah.
We'd set up a Marysville City Fund within the Marysville Community Foundation?
We'd set up our own fund and include it into their program. What they do is gather up those 501c3s and take the money in and then distribute to whatever you said you want to donate to.
Does Manhattan have one for their city?
I don't.
I can check into that.
Okay.
We have some.
See if they have one. See if they're part of that.
Just walk across my office.
Yeah, and see if they have one set up any other way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's doable, they probably will.
Well, there's no reason not to do unless it's an extreme cost or if it's extremely limited on what we can use it for. So you'll find out.
I will.
That's a Craig. Anything else?
I got nothing else.
The only other thing is, I asked Austin about when he opens bids, I said, do we have a policy on who has to be in attendance? And he said, no. And I think we should have a city policy on that. And there should be, I think, one person from the governing body, as well as Austin, maybe one city staff person that opens them and actually documents that they were in attendance when the sealed bids were open. I think it should be recorded somewhere and documented. Just, not that I don't trust you, but just...
Isn't it now? I mean, don't we do that now?
No, he says we don't have any policy.
We don't have a policy, but all I do is go, these are the bids, and unless there's an immense amount of paperwork, like the auditors, they sent booklets, I just stick them in the packet for you guys to look at.
But I still think there should be someone else opening it.
Present when
I think it's just prudent for us to do that. So can we have a policy drafted up? Who do you think should be there? Besides Austin, besides the city administrator, I should say. Who do you think should be there?
Can we just, I mean, you're just wanting somebody just basically to verify that
All of them were open and they were all recorded? Yeah, that's all the main thing.
we just have designate a couple people in the back?
Someone from the staff? You don't think you want somebody from the governing body?
We'll either have a committee
Could you
or
just say,
mayor.
could you just say one person and not specifically name a person? Like a council member present?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a specific council member, it would just be it could be a member of the governing body.
Or the mayor or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think there should be one other person there, just for a full disclosure kind of thing. So you want to draft up a policy for that? I'm sure you can find one. Okay, that's a yes. Not that we don't trust you, it has nothing to do with you, Austin, it's really more about making sure that we have documented who was there when the bids are opened. Okay, and I want it documented who was there, right? Okay. What do you have, Debbie?
Nothing.
Okay, we covered the NIMS things. We have the budget workshop on the
workshop. Yeah.
next Monday, so that should kind of be under staff reports, but next Monday. Okay, standing committee reports. Now, the street, I just want to say those bump outs are really far out.
Oh, my God.
And I asked Doug Miniman today if the buses were going to pull up on the east side or continue to pull up on the north side. And he said on the north side because the main entrance on the north side, that's going to be a tough corner for buses to, if they're coming from the south, from the north, coming north, going south won't be a problem, but the people coming south to make that turn around those bump outs in front of the school is going to be tough.
No, it's not.
You don't think so? You're a bus driver.
Bus driver.
It looks
It's not-
tight to me.
it's not that tight.
Now, when they rip down that curb, I'm going to look at you, Kev.
Okay.
Because I live on 20th Street where Landell Corporation, and I see them drive over those curbs. So I'm going to
Okay.
call you. Kevin, they ran over a curb today. So, but
That's
did
what
you
I
guys
thought
think?
about when semis following somebody and may not know the bump out sticks out that much, that they're gonna
That was
drive
one of
over
the
it and
things
crunch it.
There's
I
gonna be
heard
a-
from a contractor today that
It looks
uses
big.
that road, that those bump outs set awful far, him coming through town with a wide load, you know, that exceeds 2 feet on each side. He says, and meeting another semi or full-size vehicle in that lane, he says there's no room to go.
Did we,
What was the idea?
did our engineers figure that out? The width and,
They figured out the width, and I'm sure they took traffic into consideration. With wide load going 2 feet over anyways, there's always going to be that. They're making it the width of a normal street, is basically what it is.
that's all it is a
Yeah.
normal street now?
Pretty much.
On both directions?
Which,
Yeah.
you know, downtown would be one thing, but a highway,
I mean,
Yeah.
what was the necessity of it? That's what I don't understand.
Because the school pushed for them, and it's for the crosswalks. The bump outs are designed to make it a shorter distance for the kids to be on the highway, as well as a traffic calming mechanism.
There's supposed to be a sign on each side,
There's going to be a
correct?
sign, yes.
There will be,
There are going to be flashing lights when people are crossing. There's going to be a sign with a crosswalk. I'm thinking of an improvement for our snow blades, so we're not going to run them over when it's snowing.
That's true, too.
Haven't quite figured that out just yet, but no, they're going to do exactly what they're designed to do.
It'll just look a
You're gonna-
little tighter than I thought. it would.
Exactly. You're going to come up to it and you go, I need to slow down, and that's what we want you to do.
Well, it looks funny now because, you know, there's an extra foot or foot and a half on each one of them.
Because of the cones
Well, because of the cones and because the
cut out?
street's not put back,
Right.
laid back into it. So, I mean,
It'll be less intrusive as it looks right now, and a lot of that is just flat. It's going to be flat pavement.
So that was my only street comment. You guys have anything for street?
yes, have any house building numbers been ordered?
We haven't found any that met the criteria of our ordinances. Everybody's got 3-inch tall. We need 4 inches according to our ordinances. And that's a challenge. We've been searching high and low for them.
Did you ask other cities? You ask other cities? You might do that.
Find
See
out
where
where
they
they
go.
got them or what their ordinance says. Maybe the ordinance needs to be rewritten or something.
Yeah, that's another option. We
Well,
could see
I
if-
think Dave was
6
going
inch.
with the National Fire Code.
So you would think other cities would have 4-inch too, so. So Debbie, you'll find that other cities?
And then I had a question about the city dump. When will that be open?
Possibly Saturday, we had to burn off the existing tree limbs and we had to wait for the wind to die down and we started burning today. We'll finish burning tomorrow. So we plan for Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, what did we say, 1 to 5? Next Wednesday, 4 to 6.
Saturday, Sunday, 1 to 5?
1 to 5.
1 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, what'd you say, Wednesday?
4 to 6.
4 to 6, okay.
Yeah. Okay, 4 to 6.
Okay, that'll make a lot of people happy.
And then we're going to have a citywide cleanup for leaves and branches.
Should already be in the books,
Yes.
It's like the third.
but I don't remember what the date was
Third
on
of
it.
what?
Third week in April, somewhere.
Third
there.
week of
Third
April?
week, somewhere in April, third week in April. Yep.
I was gonna say, because we kind of set it so it stays about the same time every year.
No,
Yes.
I didn't know that. It's always third week in April.
Third week in November.
Okay, anything else for street? Water, sewer, that water, did you see the big hole by Citizen State Bank?
Right
And
across the
they're gonna work on that tomorrow, and I got my emergency notice that the water was gonna be shut off for about a 2-block area. So
We don't have water here.
if people aren't on that emergency notification, you know, I got it on a phone and I got it on a text and, you know, they're at a big disadvantage if they're not on that emergency call list.
I know, and I called down here after I got it, because I'm concerned about, like the restaurants in the area.
Sandy's.
Were they notified individually?
I know down here, we were notifying the people we were attaching while we were trying to figure this out, but unless they have the notification, they weren't notified.
Probably then most of them don't know
The
it.
the sinkhole on 77 South in City Park, was that caused from the water line underneath?
Storm sewer. We haven't
It's
dug
a
it up
storm
yet.
sewer.
We've,
Okay, I
because
didn't know what it was.
there's no water coming out of it, so we're thinking it's a storm sewer.
Okay.
Yes.
Like I said, I just seen it and I know when that was about the same amount out from the curb that they run that new water
Yeah.
line through there.
Let's say water line right here, storm sewer right here.
Right there.
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
I knew that because I know when he bored that, he bumped into the sewer line a couple of times when they dumped the pipe down through there.
Well, they dug up that other corner, the southwest corner for the bump out, and they opened up the storm sewer too, so we have to
Right.
put the storm sewer back in there too,
Yeah.
but they're so busy here.
Yeah.
But, you know, this water line is being put in because we had a leak between the fire station and Schroller. And, you know, we let them build over that easement. So we need to remember things like this. So when we let people build over easements, then when there is a water line break, we have to bore.
Yep.
And so that's kind of a painful lesson for us to try to remember. But everybody store that in the memory. Don't let people build over easements.
How did you get on the emergency call list? You said you're,
I Toad's office. I called down there and asked
Okay.
him.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I got a call
and signed them up.
this afternoon.
And I know that Water and Sewer had a meeting. Who was there?
I was there.
With?
Wasn't me. That was at noon.
With Todd. And the customer, we forgave the sewer part, but they will be paying the $1,000 water bill.
Wow. So did they use 500,000 gallons too? Isn't that the last water bill I saw that big? It was like 500,000 gallons. Was it that
Well,
much?
they left, they apparently left, it involved hot water heat, and apparently they turned the lever the wrong way and left it open, so the water ran
Nonstop. Wow, that's painful.
Hot water heat? How do you turn the lever the wrong way?
They have some kind of a boiler. It must be old.
Some kind of a swimming pool, too.
Yeah, it could have
In
filled
their
them up.
basement?
Well, and then their basement drain was plugged up, so, yeah, they apparently did have a swimming pool.
Wow. Did you guys talk at all about the water sewer prices that I asked Debbie to
Not
bring up?
that day.
Did you not bring that up?
In our basement.
We did talk about the, yeah, the water, as far as using more and costing less.
The cost, the
Talk
way
about that.
our schedule is set up, the more water you use, the less it costs per gallon. And the sewer, the more water you use, the less it costs per gallon more than water. So I was trying to figure out if we should align those differently. Number one, water is precious, as we know, with this drought. And also, with the stormwater issues we've been having to do, whether we need to build something in for stormwater repairs as well. So that's just something to think about. We don't really have to discuss it, but kind of in the memory, we'll discuss it probably at the
It's kind of
workshop.
like we encourage people to use unlimited water.
Yeah,
Topeka's got a stormwater tax, if I remember right, that's
Right.
on their actual water bill. It's water, sewer, and stormwater tax.
right.
And you pay for it every month on your your utility bill.
Yeah.
It's a pretty standard way to set it up. Our water and sewer rates are set by how much debt and how much it costs to run our equipment. If you look at your electricity bill, it's set up the same way. You pay more up front, and then the more you use, the less you pay. The most expensive thing that after on my bill, after 900 kilowatts or whatever the unit is, it goes down.
We need Bill Biesinger. He was a Westar guy.
But
Ask him if that's true.
the most expensive thing we do, or the part you're paying for, is starting up the machines. So to start up the pumps is the most expensive thing. To keep them running is not as expensive. It's like starting your vehicle. You use more gas up front, so you're
Well,
getting the
Mine is
upfront.
more like water being precious rather than actual cost. We don't want to
Right,
encourage
yes. Yeah,
people
that's
using
my
more
thought.
water than they need. But anyway, we don't have to really discuss that whole concept tonight, but if you would, will you send out that rate schedule so they can see it? And so, and we can discuss it at the workshop, so will you put that on the workshop, please? Okay, that's all I had. Anybody else have any water sewer? Okay, for Parks and Rec, how's the pool coming? Do we have CPR training? Do we have enough guards?
We haven't had anybody apply, but I think we've had 2 applications.
There's more than that.
I haven't watched them come in. Okay.
Because we fax them to her, or we email them to her, and we have them. No, we have a lot more than 2.
Okay. Claire's been taking care of them.
Can you give us a status of that? And I know Maria's not going to teach CPR, so do we have an alternative CPR training?
Sammy's been working on that since we're trying to do it for the rest of the city. But
Okay, well, pool's going to come before we know it. It's already March.
yes,
Yeah, so you give us a status next time on how many guards? You can put that in the highlights as well.
okay.
Okay. Anything else for Parks and Rec?
Yes. Phil Bruna pulled into Lakeview tonight.
I saw
with
that.
his equipment, and they took their track hoe and actually went up there and started digging along the railroad ties, and instead of building a berm like we had originally talked about, they're going to dig a trough in it,
A valley.
A valley.
Yeah.
It'll be roughly about 8 inches on the west end over there, and it's only gonna get like about a foot deep, but it's gonna have about a 5-foot bottom in it, and then 6 to 7 foot wings that go up on it. But they're gonna be able to dig through that rock with that track hoe.
So is it gonna serve the same purpose as the
purpose.
berm?
Same purpose, it's just gonna run down into it, and then it's going to the same place that we were gonna put the berm at, out that
And
northwest
does it
corner.
mess up with the parking there or
Nope.
anything?
I think it'll actually work better going down instead of going up over, so.
And is he, were
Same
you there
price.
with him?
Yeah, I was up there tonight.
Is he gonna scrape that big rock off? Okay,
They're gonna get some of that off of there, so.
okay. Well, good. That's good news.
Be bolting.
Yep, and he's wanting to know if
Most of
the city had any use for any of that limestone. It's all just little fragments, Austin, for a fill or anything.
Not that I know of. I will ask.
Okay.
Where were they talking about using that other rock? Oh, at the firing range. Remember? Chief
This
said
has
he'd
got-
take,
Yeah, probably stuff like that in it. I mean, it's,
Rip rap.
I will ask.
yeah,
I will ask.
yeah,
you can go up and look at it tomorrow.
we can store it somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll use it
We can always-
somewhere.
Yeah.
We don't-
If not, he said they can haul it off. I mean,
Okay.
so.
Okay. I'll check.
So that's good news. I know, the heaters are up and running. They don't need them now because it's warm enough. But the heaters are up and running and the water's running, so that's all good things at Lakeview. And, okay, ready to go to cemetery and airport? Fire and police? Admin and finance?
Today I asked Austin if one of the discussion items we would put on the workshop agenda would be kind of discussing nuisance violations and so maybe look around in your ward and wards and, you know, come with your ideas.
My answer would be yes.
Mine too.
Code enforcement, yes.
I thought there was a time, not too long ago, that we were maybe going to get some help from the police department, having one police officer.
You know, we had that 1 year, and I think it worked pretty good. But now we don't have that officer available to us unless you're able to convince him to.
Years ago, Terry Douglas, you guys would give him the list, and he would see if you had your dogs licensed or not. Because my dog had gotten sick and I had to have her put down, and Terry came knocking at the door.
About dog licenses?
Oh, yeah, I mean, Terry was, if I read that whole thing right with him, he used to do the enforcement on that also.
That was before my time, but
Yeah.
I was thinking of Scylla.
Well, I don't know. That's something we're gonna have to
Celia.
broach with Todd, because he's gonna have to be the one.
Well, he's gonna be at that meeting, the workshop, so we can address
Okay,
that.
let's approach him then, because he's gonna have to loosen it up, because it's a really good idea to do that, you know? A really, really good
I think the
idea.
problem was we didn't have an ordinance in place to fine them. If that wasn't that what the problem was?
Fine him for
Well,
what?
we have code enforcement violations.
Means they didn't have a tag?
No, for.
You mean we don't
enforcement.
have a dollar amount to charge them for it? Is that what the
I
problem
think
was?
that was right.
So we
Is there?
have,
There's.
in the code book, it says dollar amounts that we can fine them?
Yep. I
Okay.
thought that was the problem, why we couldn't fine people.
There's a list of fines. Is it specific to nuisances or is it just a code violation?
Noise, you mean?
No, junk.
Just nuisance.
I thought you were talking about dogs.
Oh, we kinda jumped around.
Yeah, we're jumping around.
Oh, you
It's
lost
like
me.
an up to amount,
Yeah.
if I recall. I don't know, it was 500 or less, but.
So we'll talk about that when Todd's there.
Yeah, why don't we do
At the
that?
workshop.
Yeah.
Anything on admin and finance?
Also, we'd kind of talked about looking, and this would be more pertaining to 2019, you know, always trying to keep our salaries in line with other salaries. And I would like for us to get a list of all the employees, W-2s, year-end W-2s. So we have more of an idea of
Total salaries paid?
Yes, their total earnings for the year.
Prior to start the 2019 budget?
Yes.
Okay. You can pull that, can't you?
That has all the withholdings on their W-2s.
Well, you don't have, you can just make a schedule. You can list them out. She just wants a W-2 salary amount, right? You don't care about it.
Yeah, what's in?
Just gross. Okay, just gross.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, appointments I have not done. And city attorney, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. We do need to go into executive session for probably 10 minutes, not too long. Does anyone want to read, who wants to read the motion? Diane? I'll pass you the motion we need for 10 minutes. It would include the governing body plus the city attorney.
I move the city council recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception KSA 75-4319B1 in order to discuss a performance matter involving a city employee. The open meeting to resume in the city council chamber at
9:05.
9:05. The executive session will include the governing body and
city attorney.
Okay.
That's her motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Todd's gone, so you have to read the motion. Okay. It is 9:05 and no binding decisions were made in executive session. And now we'll continue as regular session. And now Diane will make another motion.
I have to read it over?
Yeah, you can do it.
I can do it? Okay. I move the city council recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception KSA 75-4319B1 in order to discuss a performance matter involving a city employee. The open meeting to resume in the city council chamber at
9:26.
9:26. The executive session will include the governing body and the
city attorney
and
the city administrator.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, here we go. 9:26. Atta girl.
Who's watching it?
9:26. Is everyone here? Everyone is here. So no binding action was taken during the executive session, and the regular session of the city council meeting will now continue. For roundtable, I just want to say the Marysville High School boys and girls played hard at state and was very proud of their efforts. And at Emporia, I went to the Emporia Visitor Center. They have two major events at Emporia. Both of them are owned by private entities. Dirty Kanza is owned by an outside company, and so is, they have national disc golf tournaments in Emporia. Again, owned by an independent company, but one brings 2,500 people to their city, one brings 1,600. So I'm going to give that information to Michelle Weitzel, see if she could, it'd be ideal. These disc golf people stay for an entire week, and if we could be a little outer course, that they could do the courses in Emporia and maybe do a course here in Marysville. Anyway, it was just really good to do it, to see and to go visit a visitor center and see another city. And again, the workshop is March 19th at 5:15, and the agenda will be out before that. And we have added a couple things to the agenda. That's all I have. Darlene.
Last Saturday was the legislative forum, and Jason and Diane, Carla, myself, I think that's all who attended. Our Senator Elaine Bowers was there, as well as our Representative Aaron. So far, they aren't talking about any things that will particularly affect the city, but there's time left.
There's time to come, yes. and compromises are not working even at the state level.
That's right.
That's what I learned. Okay,
No, my thing is about getting somebody here to enforce ordinance. That way, we're not just, somebody's not gonna feel like this council said this, you go get that. We just have somebody that does it
the whole
blanket.
city.
Yeah.
Amen, I
think-
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about that
Yeah.
at the workshop.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
Gina? Terry? Diane?
Nope.
Kevin?
Nope.
Jason?
Not too much. I'm looking forward to, talking about some of the nuisance problems and stuff. And I'm hoping, and it was great that we had 3 bids, and I wish we had 2 properties.
I think we should search for another property.
Well, I think that we need, like I say, I think we need to maybe look at some of our ordinances as far as, and ask some of our contractors if if there are changes that we could make that would make it easier for them. Like he said, on a corner lot, and I know this because I've got a corner lot, I'm just lucky I'm wanting a commercial building there and it's R3, but by the time you meet the setbacks for residential,
It cuts it out,
he is
yeah.
right, it is almost impossible to put a house on the property.
And
I mean, just about is. And
You own the adjacent lot though, right?
no, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, if I did, I could do whatever I want. but
Oh,
no.
okay.
And that's the problem is, a lot of times the lot sits empty, but getting a lot next door to it to do something with it. But I think if you're gonna have some people, want people to clean up the properties, I think that if we could find or open up uses for them, some of this problem would go away on its own. Or if
Or
nothing
both,
else,
do
you
both.
would take away the excuse of the crutch that they're using why they're not cleaning it up.
Yeah.
And then you could say, well, you can do something with it now, and then when they don't, then, but give them, would give them some time.
Yeah.
And you might find, some contractors that would try and buy some of those properties. It'd be worth more, because, I mean, if you have a property, like, say a house in the corner I'm tearing down, if it was.
I know, can you sell it to Nick?
No. But.
At a good price.
But, I mean, if it was residential, and the city came to me and said, you need to tear that down, and I said, well, what can I put there? And they said, well, nothing.
Nothing.
What am I gonna do with it?
Why am I
I'm
gonna
gonna
tear it down?
say, you take it, and the city's gonna take it, and the city's gonna have to tear it down, and then once they get done with it, then who's gonna wanna buy it when you can't do anything with the property? And they're just gonna
Wow,
mow it,
speaking of
and then-
property, that at 13th and May, Nick,
That's another one that's a
That's a-
corner lot. And
is
it's
that,
another one
is that
that's-
one that we can't build out? There's not?
But it's
No,
two
because
lots.
I'll tell you, no.
No,
Right, on the
it's
one
one.
on 13th and May, you're talking about the great big white one.
Uh-huh.
See, when the previous owner, before the one that's on the alley that has a duplex, he had the lot line changed because it was his area and that big white house was his mother's area. Well, when he had that done, somebody made the lot line right against
Yep.
the house.
So there is no way to
There's
put
absolutely not,
anything on
the
that
only
lot?
person that can do anything with that is the gentleman that owns the property to the north. He could do something there.
Well, and probably the house to the west.
If they bought it.
They could probably buy it, combine it into a parcel, and then they could do.
Well, it's such a,
Something maybe
I don't know. I know, because it would be L-shaped
Yeah.
around that gentleman, and I don't even know, because of the square footage from the cement over to the lot line is
Yeah.
so minimal, I don't know if they'd be able to do it. I don't know. That is a problem. But what he was saying, when I brought it before about the floodplain problems, we need to really look in to see if the government's going to relinquish things.
How we can do that.
Yeah, because that'll open up a lot. Well, for you.
It would.
And didn't you want to start something down on the,
Well, he already has his lots.
oh, you've already started
Already
that?
vacated my alley.
Oh, man, you did a good job.
He's got his under control.
So, yeah, I think those are important things we need to do
Before
to help.
the workshop, could we get a list of the FEMA properties and
You have those documented.
vacant lots, other vacant lots also?
You mean other vacant lots that the city owns?
Or just the FEMA? You want the FEMA?
You're talking about the city-owned lots?
Uh-huh, city owned.
And FEMA, yeah.
You can put it in the budget workshop. Okay, with that being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
A second?
Wait, no, I have to entertain the
Oh, yeah,
motion.
so couldn't entertain.
Move to.
Move to adjourn.
It's like, okay, second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Because he moved it.